for some football?
Your sports leader, WOHS Shelby, WLON Lincoln, WCSL Cherryville Gastonia.
Be nice if it was college, right, Hunter?
That'd be real nice.
We'll be back. Welcome back to Saturday. It ain't Saturday Sports Talk.
No,
Golly.
it's Monday. Goodness
it is
gracious.
Monday for Shock Joxx, episode 97. Welcome, everybody listening on the podcast and watching on Facebook and YouTube and wherever else you watch. We'll have some fun things to talk about today. We got college football to do today. We've got NASCAR championship to kind of go over a little bit as Jimmy Johnson's last ride ends up in fifth place. Nice little run there to
Good way to try and go out.
to end it.
Mhm.
And then we've got a little NFL action and more. Hunter, let's start in college football Saturday.
Yeah.
And the big game, of course, that everyone talked about this weekend was Notre Dame, Clemson. And we kind of discussed, earlier in the week that, it's almost unfair to Notre Dame. They have to beat Clemson twice. And Clemson's only got to beat them once.
That's true. And it's one of the things, too, where you kind of have to look at what happens to everybody behind Clemson and Notre Dame. Because if Notre Dame loses to Clemson, then they'll both only have one loss on the season, unless something happens, obviously, and Notre Dame loses again in their next few games, which I really don't see happening. But if they do lose the Clemson, it all comes down to what happens to the teams behind them.
Right.
If Oklahoma State was to lose again because they're the one-loss Big 12 team, did they necessarily get in? Because if Notre Dame loses nobody in the Pac-12 going, then they'll both only have one loss on the season. Are you going to look at them over maybe a one-loss Notre Dame or Clemson? I will say this. I think it's better for football this year, at least college football, that Notre Dame won. What I am upset about is how the AP polls came out the next day, and essentially Cincinnati fell a spot.
Right.
So they're undefeated, and they fell a spot, and the two teams that jumped in front of them were the one losses of Texas A&M and Florida. Now, Florida had a big win. I'm okay with it. I understand them jumping up, and I'll admit, as a Georgia fan, we look like shit. We did, so Florida deserved that. But if you're Cincinnati, what more do you have to do? Like, you're undefeated, and you're winning by large margins, too, against the teams that you're playing. I've said this for weeks. You can't fault me for who I play. It's the same thing at the NFL level. One team's going to have an easier schedule than the other team. That was the Patriots for years.
Yeah.
How good are they really? And then when it comes playoff time, you're like, oh, they're actually really good.
Right.
Because they're not just beating up on their division anymore. So I feel like they're the ones that are going to get screwed. They're going to do everything in their power if they go undefeated. Cincinnati and Notre Dame and Clemson each have one loss on the season.
Look who's right behind Cincinnati now, too.
Yeah, BYU. But that's what I mean. They're going to do everything in their power going forward to try and keep Cincinnati and BYU out of the top 4.
Should the AP and coaches go ahead? Well, Hunter, welcome to college football.
I know, yeah, I realize.
Should they go ahead and make a rule? And folks, this is going to be kind of that coincides with our brackets for our tournament, to where if you're not in the Power 5, you can't be ranked in the top 10. And then you would stop Cincinnati at 11, BYU at 12, and then there would be no argument. Because if those guys can't get in the Final Four anyway, or not going to get in anyway, then what's the point of ranking them? I always thought, like, either rank them and let them get in there, but don't, like what you're saying, they're dicking around with the ranking.
They are.
And when they do that, that's when you're like, because what they say is they'll say,
like Texas A&M winning this weekend against South Carolina, did it really jump them over 2 undefeateds?
Right. So
the Florida one, okay, but Cincinnati was 6th last week. They're 7th this week.
Yeah.
You won a game, but you still dropped down.
Yeah. That's why I hate college football, the worst sport in the world.
But see, I'm different, though, because it's more of I love watching football in general, so I love watching college football. But I am the same with you when it comes to rankings, because it's the same thing with college basketball. I always feel like the little guy really doesn't have a chance. But at least college basketball, you always have an opportunity.
Well, you can win out in the tournament.
Right.
They just lie to you in college football is what they do. Is they say, you guys play, you win and you'll be ranked. You keep winning. And then you keep winning, and Texas A&M beats South Carolina, and hey.
And Texas A&M's one loss is to Alabama, which you can quote-unquote say is a good loss. But even still, that's a one-loss team over two undefeated teams. And Florida's only loss was to Texas A&M. So it really fits that A&M is ranked ahead of Florida. I get that. But at the same time, you got BYU and Cincinnati sitting there looking at the college football guys that decide these rankings like this. Well, what more do you want from us? Like what more do you want from us? Your top 3 teams in the nation right now are undefeated. Alabama, Notre Dame, and Ohio State, who's only got 3 games they've even played in. After that, 4, 5, 6, they're 1 losses. Meanwhile, 7 and 8 are undefeated. And Indiana's sitting there at 10th, 3-0.
So I got BYU number 1, Notre Dame 2, Coastal 3. Should be easy math, right?
I can't leave Alabama out because they're 6-0.
They're tied for 4th.
Okay.
What? I'm just looking at the standings.
Okay, yeah.
The actual standings,
right?
That the win losses. God forbid we do that, and the only sport that we don't. We was talking about the same thing like with the Tar Heels last week. They had gotten beat by 2 unranked teams. This is what. How about this? So who's beats Tar Heels?
Virginia and Florida State.
Who beat Appalachian State?
Marshall.
Which one got beat by a ranked team?
Appalachian State.
When they played head-to-head just 11 months ago, who won?
Appalachian State.
So why is North Carolina ranked 26th in both polls and App is 32nd? Same thing, same type of stuff.
I don't know.
And that's what I mean. Like, whether or not, you've still Carolina's still gotten beat by 2 teams that aren't ranked. And App's only loss is to the number 16 team in the nation, who's undefeated, by the way.
Marshall.
Right. So even when you look at the losses, that App's had better losses. Now, what's everybody going to do? Now, 2 weeks, folks. We'll get ready. 2 weeks.
Chanticleers and Mountaineers.
The fancy French chickens. Wait a minute. The fictitious fancy French chickens.
Say that.
Fighting chickens.
Say that.
The fictitious fancy French fighting chickens.
Say that like 10 times fast. I promise. There's no way.
What if we use the word from chicken to fowl?
Oh, now you got him. Now you've got him.
The fancy fighting fowl of Conway, South Carolina.
Conway Twitter.
They will be hosting the Mountaineers in 2 weeks. Now, Hunter, if Coast, let's do the math on this. Coast was 15th right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're one spot ahead of Marshall right now.
Right.
And App beats Coastal. At Coastal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying App should be ranked ahead of Marshall because they obviously beat them, but shouldn't App be ranked 16th and Marshall 15th?
Well, it's just going to depend on what happens to...
Should we skip over those
no.
other 10 teams?
You should
be in the spot?
You should be at least in the 20s, if not 19th or 18th, just because you will have been a one-loss team at that point.
Well, do you think
if you don't lose leading up to that game, that will be your only loss on the season to Marshall, and you beat your hardest opponent outside of Marshall and Coastal.
Will App be 23rd and Coastal 25th, or will they just completely take Coastal?
They'll take Coastal.
This week you're 15th, but one loss.
You're out.
You're out.
You're out.
You're done.
Well, look how close. Listen to this. Look at Liberty.
Yeah.
Liberty was 25th last week.
Yeah.
And they only move up three. No,
They beat Virginia Tech.
They beat Virginia Tech. And that was a hard-fought game. And they were beating the dog mess of Virginia.
There's going to be some video cut of that pick this week.
Yeah. Yeah. Terry said Liberty. Oh, and Terry and Tom, what was that, 2 Clemsons to 1 Notre Dame? I'll take that.
Did you take Notre Dame?
Yeah.
Gene asked me yesterday, and I said, because
I was at the bars.
I know Tom didn't, and I know Terry didn't. I said, but there's a chance. I could not remember if you had.
I did, because I remember looking at them and saying, -5 without Trevor Lawrence in Notre Dame is disrespectful to Notre Dame. I'm taking the Irish. It was.
Just based on what it should be.
Now, Clemson played outstanding. They played really well. Notre Dame shot themselves in the foot a couple times where they fumbled in the red zone, or they would have been up multiple touchdowns.
Is Kelly still their coach?
Yeah, Brian Kelly.
Oh, God, I don't trust him at all.
Well, he is going on,
He's a snake.
His 4th or 5th season so far where he's chasing a 10-win season, and that would be the longest in Notre Dame history that they've done that consecutively. But there's been a lot of rumors last year that Forever. There was a lot of...
never seen that long until you're grown.
There was a lot of speculation last year that Brian Kelly was going to go to the NFL, that someone would offer him a job. So I don't know if that'll be the case this year as it gets closer and closer to the end of the season. The problem is, you got all these coaches that you would have said is going to be on the hot seat this year.
Yeah.
But it's a COVID year, and they don't really know how that's going to work, money-wise, if they have to try and buy somebody out of their contract. It's just one of these tough moments that a lot of people are going to see. So if you got a coach that you don't like, I'm sorry, you might be stuck with him this year and next year.
Well, didn't they pull that? They pulled that off last year. The guys were about to get fired.
Yeah, wait a minute.
They ended up not getting fired. All right, Hunter, this is our update. We've got some new teams.
Well, yeah, we do.
This is the Shock Joxx. If we were in charge of the playoff brackets, what would it look like? So to explain it, folks, our top 10 teams, we just mentioned a minute ago, should the AP rank teams not in the Power 5 inside the top 10? Our poll ends up top 10 teams. Top 5 are your conference champions. The next 5 are your conference second place teams. And then the final 6 are your group of 5 and independents. Mm-hmm. Champions 11 through 15 and independent at 16. If BYU goes undefeated and wants to complain about having to play number 1, Hunter, guess what? They could play in a conference.
Yeah, we always complain about Notre Dame.
So if the playoffs started today based on our brackets,
BYU used to be part of the Mountain West.
They did.
I don't know what changed.
They didn't kick them out because they're Mormons, did they?
Oh,
joke to Hunter's friend who may or may not watch.
Yeah, no, say, wait a minute now.
Nothing else besides that internet.
Well,
it's just his friend.
Think Utah and Utah State are still in that.
Yeah. All right. So it would be BYU at Alabama. Would the Cougars have any type of a fighting chance against the Elephants, Hunter?
I would have to look at the teams as a whole. I've watched Alabama, obviously. BYU usually plays at times when I don't really get to watch them. But Zach Wilson is real, their quarterback. He should be the front runner for the Heisman.
Okay.
I will say that right now. It should be him, and then Kyle Trask should be second.
Mm.
They've got better numbers than anybody else that's in front of them that plays at the bigger schools. I would have to just look across the board because even though the quarterback play at BYU arguably could be better with Zach Wilson than Mac Jones, which team has the more talent all over the board? It's probably going to be Alabama. So it'll be probably closer than people would think. Maybe a 14-point win for Alabama. I don't think it would be a blowout.
All right, USC, the second place Pac-12 team, would be visiting the second place Big 12 Oklahoma State Cowboys.
How about them Cowboys?
And the winner of that would get Alabama. Down the bottom, other part of the bracket, Oregon Ducks in the 4 seed would be hosting Marshall, and then Iowa State in the 5 seed would be hosting those Chanticleers. Over in the other side of the bracket, we got some new teams entering the bracket this week. How about the Miami of Ohio Redhawks have taken Akron's spot? Somebody finally played a game, Hunter.
Yeah.
And the Zips lost.
Maction.
So I had to kick Akron out after losing.
The Maction.
Well, they would be at Notre Dame. I'm sure Tom would be pulling hard for the Redhawks.
Yeah.
Wildcats of Northwestern enter the poll. Well, they were in it last week. They were just at the 8th seed, so they actually backed up 2 spots. And then now they would have to go on the road as the Gators have entered the poll after knocking the Dogs off our sheet. Mm-hmm. Gators and Wildcats. Hunter, would you favor the Gators in that matchup?
After what I saw Florida do against Georgia, I would. Florida has played very good this year. Northwestern, I don't have enough on paper for them to even make an assumption that they've only played like 3 games.
So our Saturday morning dream matchup, Hunter, would be Wolfpack at Buckeyes.
Oof. But not NC State.
The wrong one.
The wrong
It
one.
would be the Nevada Wolfpack. 2 words, not one word. And they're in now after taking over first place in their conference. And that knocks Clemson back to the 6th seed, who would be home hosting the Cincinnati Bearcats, Hunter. And we would have a 4-7 ranking matchup in round 1. Would that be fun?
That would be fun. And see, I was thinking the Cincinnati Notre Dame game that we had kind of slated out for the past few weeks would have been interesting. This one, I'm not so sure about. I know Notre Dame did just beat Clemson, but Clemson still played Notre Dame tight without their starting quarterback, and a couple other players were out. So I think I would favor Clemson in this game, probably by 10. I wouldn't do a bigger spread than what people would probably say. Oh, Clemson by 21.
Yeah.
Maybe like 10 if they're going to win by double digits.
13.5. How about that?
There you go. I'm fine with it.
Fine with that.
I'm fine with it.
All right. So there's our would-be playoff brackets. You can kind of gauge how good your team is or not team
now,
is.
If I'm looking at this and I'm trying to think upset-wise, I don't know. Maybe Coastal Carolina, if they're as good as as we think they are against Iowa State, because Iowa State is hit or miss every week. That's the Big 12. They don't play. And the 8-9 matchup, really, to me, those teams would be like so close. I wouldn't even consider it an upset if USC beat Oklahoma State just because of where they are on this. But I think Oklahoma State still got too much. USC, if it wasn't for Arizona State with a big blunder, they lose that game.
Golly. Hunter, I checked on the scores, and it was 27-13 Sun Devils.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or 27-14 Sun Devils with like 3 minutes left in the game.
Yeah. They scored 2 touchdowns. They scored I think they said they scored 2 touchdowns in 90 seconds.
Yeah, it was something like that. Because after they scored, I was like, well, it was 3. I think.
USC
Arizona got the ball with like 3 minutes left.
USC got their
3 and out.
Got their. Yeah, that's right. It was a 3 and out because they tried the onside kick, and Arizona State couldn't do anything with it. Gave it right back to USC, and they just drove down the field.
Just terrible.
Oh God, I was so mad watching that game. I was like, hey, "You're blowing it."
Yeah, they did.
They really did.
All right, ACC standings: Notre Dame's in first, Clemson, Miami, North Carolina, Virginia Tech. So North Carolina got beat by who, Hunter?
Florida State and Virginia.
Florida State and Virginia.
Florida State is third to last.
Who's 2-5? Virginia's 2-4. So Virginia Tech just got beat by Liberty.
Well, we beat Virginia Tech.
In-state Liberty, Virginia Tech just lost to.
At Virginia Tech, not Liberty.
Think about it. Liberty won in Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech is the 5th best team in the ACC according to standings. So we've got ACC's got 3 teams in the top 10, and then nobody else sniffing
Nobody
anything.
else. NC State probably would have had an opportunity if they beat Miami.
Yeah.
But, of course, that last-second play put Miami on top. So if NC State beats Miami, you would have had 4, because I think NC State would have gotten in then with a pretty big win. Other than that, though, you're right. I mean, the ACC, and see, that's why I can't give much credit to when Clemson does win these games. It's not that competitive.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. Usually, and I don't know where Miami's come from, and obviously Notre Dame has been forced to play in the conference this year. But usually it would just be Clemson. That's the only team that's ranked.
I saw some number.
Or the next closest team to being ranked would be in the 20s.
I saw some number. It was like there's 50 top or 5-star prospects.
Listen, in the
Clemson
ACC,
and Alabama had like 40 something.
Yeah, and in the ACC alone, I think Joel Klatt said it. He was like, and I can't remember the exact numbers.
It was a 90% percentage.
But it's this. But it's like this.
Alabama
yeah, and that's what I mean by like in the ACC. Say the way he put it, because he obviously knows. I can't remember the numbers. He was like, say there are 18 5-star recruits in the ACC.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Clemson has 14 of them.
Right.
4 of them are just somewhere else.
Right.
He said so. Like the level of competition, is it even? No.
So basically, Clemson has and this is like when we talk on about this is our high school football argument, is that Clemson with those, they have a whole side of the football that's 5-star. If
they
you
have a whole
players,
side. They have a whole side of the ball where your backups are starting caliber anywhere else.
So if your 14 players are you 5 stars, I mean, there's only 11 on one side. So yeah, it's just it's not. I don't know whether to call it fair. What's the idea? You know, I obviously, we've talked about this in the past. I obviously think if you were to be able to publicly do name rights, name, image, likeness, and actually pay the players a flat salary, I think that would spread it out. Because now, if everything's under the table, these teams can pay a little this and that under the table to these guys. I'm not accusing Clemson of Alabama or anything, but I am. But
I'm not, but I am.
But again,
don't worry,
honestly,
you're not
Hunter,
the only one. You're not the only one.
Let's think about this. If I'm a college senior, okay, and let's say you actually visit these schools and stuff, there is no way on God's green earth I would choose Tuscaloosa, Alabama over Gainesville.
Right.
I've been to Florida spring break 4 or 5 times and have met a lot of folks from the Florida school.
Well, it's the same argument you could say with University of Central Florida. Have you seen UCF's campus? Holy cow. It is near the water and everything.
The student population is what I'm more concerned with.
Well, okay.
Is what I'm saying.
Well, you could argue the same thing. It's
but again, where's Clemson? Middle of nowhere. It's not. I mean, honestly, if you're choosing a school based on location, fun, school, and friends, whatever, why would you go to Clemson instead of Coastal Carolina?
Right.
Unless you're playing on that Clemson football team, I'm going to Coastal where the beach is 5 minutes from the school. And that's what I mean by this. Again, if they weren't under the table, whatever they're doing, who the hell would want to play at Alabama?
You could say
your uniforms are god awful.
You can say the same thing about North Carolina. Who would go play? You would go play.
Chapel Hill,
you would go play East Carolina because it's at the beach.
Yeah,
because Wilmington doesn't have a football program.
I mean, it's just I don't know. I don't know why anybody would go to Alabama other than if you're going to be playing football, I guess, and going to the NFL, getting paid under the table or whatever it is. But it's just weird how some schools like USC, I can see them getting all the recruits in the world.
Yeah,
I mean we're in
California.
We're in LA, California, beautiful state. They got the Song Girls. I mean, what else do you want? What else do you want?
I mean, that's what they used to be able to sell. They used to because they were winning at the same time, and then the sanctions came down, and everybody realized, well, damn, you were cheating, and they were like, well. Because that's one thing the students want to, or the kids coming in want to actually play for as well. Is at the same time, like, if I'm a high recruit, I want to come in and win.
Oh, that's
like
true.
I want to win a championship. Sure, if you want to give me a few extra dollars under the table, and it'd be nice if we were out near the beach. Absolutely, but I want to come in and win. And that's what these programs at Clemson, Alabama, they sell you two things. And it's the same reason why Arizona State, I know they just lost, but why they're getting a bunch of recruits at the same time. Herm Edwards can look at them and say, I can get you to the NFL.
Well,
we're going to have national recognition.
Mm-hmm.
And I know what these coaches want. I can get you to the NFL.
My best example of why things are weird, why I recruit and why I think they do pay them in some compassion. And you can look right at North Carolina, Hunter. Why we've got a receiver from around here who was offered by Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
At what point has North Carolina's football or receiver program ever been better than Georgia's?
We've put out some good receivers.
Right.
Lately.
I'm not trying to tear down Carolina here. I mean, that's just, like if you're a quarterback and I don't know, Notre Dame or USC calls, I'm going to Notre Dame USC.
Mm-hmm.
You go if you're a wide receiver running back. I just don't get why someone would choose a local school like that other than that's your team and that's what you like.
It's probably this too.
And then I'm looking at Sam Howell too. I mean, Florida State, Tallahassee.
Yeah,
and now
you're came to North Carolina.
You're sitting in damn Chapel Hill.
Well, I will say this
He's
too.
a Charlotte kid, though, right?
Mm.
Wasn't he a Charlotte kid?
I believe so. I will say this too. I had a buddy of mine. He played at North Lincoln. He's the same age as me. He was getting recruited to go play at bigger schools. But the one thing that turned him off was how the scholarships were. Whether they were half scholarships, full scholarships,
right,
and all that stuff, and really how much it covered, and also playing time. He said, if I go, I want to play.
That's definitely a big thing.
That's a big thing too.
Right. At that,
and
me personally, that would be my number one.
I would want to play.
Is playing.
I would want to play because this is what it was.
I don't want to be one of the people that practices.
I
will
say one of the schools that recruited him. It was Georgia. Now, I could have looked at him and told him, hey, you can't beat the opportunity of going to the University of Georgia for football.
Yeah.
Not many people can. I said, but he looked at me and said, yeah, but there's no guarantee I wouldn't see the field till I'm a junior. Because the turnover that they just get at these big schools. Yeah. So where did he end up going to play? Nothing wrong. We went and played at Western. He said, why? Because he can play.
Mm-hmm.
And he had, I think it was a dual scholarship because he could do track and field at the same time. So sometimes it all comes down to what they offer and if they're going to play. And we know exactly who you're talking about. Had a Georgia offer. He's going to North Carolina. It's Kobe Pacehour.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm happy he's going to North Carolina if that's what he wants to do because I think he can go in and play. Now, Georgia, I'm not going to say he couldn't go in and walk in and just start playing, but like you said, they produce wide receiver talent. It just comes through every year. Every year. So if you think you can go in and play immediately, why not?
All right. So I guess any other comments on college football?
What they're doing to Cincinnati and BYU is a tragedy. That's all I have to say.
Your playoff predictor right now is Alabama 1, Ohio State 2, Notre Dame 3, Clemson 4. That's what everyone expects. Wisconsin 5, Oregon 6, BYU 7.
How the hell is Wisconsin still sitting at 5th? They don't even know if they're going to get back to playing.
BYU 7, Florida 8, and Cincinnati 9 to get into your playoff. Picture,
Idiots.
There's your odds or suggestions on that. I love looking at these comments, huh?
That's so funny.
We get spammed on our comments on YouTube, and I got to go in and block some of these, but it's just none of them. It's all spam. It's like
that's it.
Someone has the best. Is that Kisses?
I don't know. And look, it looks like you're talking about Terry.
Anyone want to be this lady's boyfriend?
I'm alone.
This lady's alone, if anyone is wondering.
Good. I wait for love from you. Look at these comments.
Don't read the websites that people are giving us links and OMG and
it's just so funny,
man. I don't even know what this means. But Cat Boss commented on a video. Said, okay, I'm on my way. Never mind, this was 6 years ago. What are they coming for?
Hell, I don't know.
I'm scared to click on that. Sonny, this lady, Hunter, wants to know if anyone would like to do this to her. We were talking sports, so I'm not sure exactly what she's referring to.
She talking about sliding into home?
I don't know what.
I don't know, man.
These are funny.
They're so fun. Like,
Wendy,
but I don't.
Wendy says she's single.
How do you stop the spam?
And Darlene says, "Wow, I just go in and block each individual one." at a time.
Yeah.
Dana wants you to contact her if you want to be her boyfriend.
Well, I'll be damned. He's crazy.
But anyway, we
these
printed
people,
one
man.
off, and we're going to give it to JP that commented, and his picture actually came up. We don't know if it had anything to do with that or not. But.
No, that's what I said. One of them came up, and it was Terry. I was like, oh, no.
That's awesome.
Terry? Oh, no, Terry.
You got some explaining to do.
You got some explaining to do.
Got hot dates on YouTube. Speaking of explaining to do, Hunter, Tom Brady. Andre has not wanted to answer his text this morning or last night.
I bet
they take their second L of the season in a total. I can't say it nicely. Any other nicely? A total ass whooping last night.
They didn't look good as a whole.
From the Saints, who got Michael Thomas back. Now Drew Brees don't play defense, so yeah, they scored what was it 38-3 was the final.
Yeah,
and
they lost by 35.
Right. So
the first game was closer.
Obviously, the points are on Brady, and their defense gave up 38, so they didn't do too well.
Here's the crazy thing. I'm pretty sure in game one, when the Saints and Buccaneers played, they picked Brady off twice. And then in this game, they picked him off 3 times. So whoever the DC is for the Saints, they just absolutely know how to play Tom Brady right now. The problem is, you know what? Saints, great, cool. You locked up right now. Number 1 in the NFC South. I get that.
They're the number 1 seed in the NFC now because Seattle got
That's
beat.
right. Yeah, because Seattle got beat too. But something inside of me is telling me that we're probably going to see another heartbreaker for the Saints. That's just how, I don't know, we've just become so accustomed to it the past 2-3 years.
Right.
That's just something that's going to happen, and it's going to just take their whole train off the rails. And I would hate to see that, but I just fear that's what's going to happen. Now, going back to what you said, Tom Brady got some explaining to do. No. Bruce Arians and Byron.
You ever watch Lucille Ball's show?
Yeah.
Des Arnaz?
Mm-hmm.
You see, Lucille, you got some explaining to do.
Yeah. Bruce Arians and Byron Leftwich, whichever one of them was the play caller for this game last night, has a lot of explaining to do on why the hell they did not run the ball at all. If I'm not mistaken, they had like 5 rushing attempts.
Yeah, it was 4 up. Did you watch the very end of it?
No.
Okay. So
it was a blowout at the time, so I was like, I'm done with this.
So here was the deal on that. The NFL record for fewest rushing attempts in a game was 5. They had 4. New Orleans need on 4th down with 30 seconds left. So Tampa got the ball back with 1 play left.
And ran it.
No, it took a knee, but it counts as a run. So they tied the NFL record instead of breaking the NFL record. But technically, they really
like, how can you
called
go
the fewest running plays in NFL history.
Like, and I get it. Tom Brady still has some juice, and you've got weapons all over the field for wide receivers. Godwin, of course, Evans, and AB.
Do you see this?
And you talking about Jameis coming in eating a dub? God, he's dumb. I swear.
Hold on.
He's so dumb.
You can't watch this and not laugh. You can't do it. All right, folks, ready? That's not Jameis in the background.
That's Cam Jordan.
This is Cameron Jordan. But
he's a beast.
Jameis comes in from the side.
Look at Jameis.
And he has to eat this W.
God almighty.
Here he comes.
Who would have thought?
I love it.
Look at that. Who would have thought?
He's 2-0 against Tom Brady in Tampa.
I would say, who would have thought that Jameis Winston would be 2-0 against his old team?
They can't.
He
beat
actually
Jameis
took
Winston.
snaps last night too.
Yeah. I'm waiting for Andre to wander down the hall. I'm going to bring this back up. But look at this. Eating the W.
Let's go get us a dub.
He just ate the W.
He ate it.
On TV. Again, look at that face. Just staring at the camera.
That's what a league minimum quarterback looks like.
That's why he's not the
Starter.
leader and captain and star of a team. little maybe immature, but I think it's hilarious.
I think it's funny. I thought it was funny.
But people say he's stupid or silly, but that's so genius though. In the end, that he's trolling back on the Bucks about this W.
I mean, he knows
everybody in the world made fun of him, and he still.
I mean, that's fine. They did get their ass waxed, but that's fine if you're the Bucks. Take the L. It would have been hilarious if he looked at the screen and threw up the big L on his forehead.
Oh God! Hunter, you can inject this into my veins. I need a syringe.
Shoot Jameis Winston into your
veins.
Take
that out of the screen and just shoot it in my veins.
You can watch that every day.
I mean, I can make this my if somehow your screen your wallpaper on your background. If I can make this play on repeat as my wallpaper, that's all it is. Especially for just a week at least. I'll just come in and watch this. Look at him just stare at the screen. It's just so. That's so 90s. I mean, I don't know what else to say about or early 2000s. I could just see people I played with doing that.
The Saints, they deserve that win. Absolutely. Because Tampa Bay looked like they were lost. Good. Tampa Bay looked like a high school team last night. The defense, that was the number one rush defense in the league, didn't show up. The Saints still were able to move the ball on the ground. Drew Brees, I know it obviously helps getting Michael Thomas back. Emmanuel Sanders was back as well. Jared Cook had a very bad night at the tight end position. But what really helped the Saints, and I'm not trying to diminish the Saints' win because I don't want to do that, but Tom Brady turning the ball over and giving them picks and giving them short field really helped them a lot. That's why the score was what it was. I think it might have been maybe 28-0, not 38. Well, 28-3, maybe 28-7 if Tom Brady doesn't throw 3 picks. Because that defense last night was all over everybody. Mike Evans was targeted. I can't remember how many times. He had twice. I was going to say, Marshawn Lattimore had him on shutdown.
The 2 games this year, he's been targeted 4 times, 0 catches against Lattimore.
Lattimore's been in him. He's been all up in his grill. He said, yeah, listen, you can throw it to this side, but you're not catching this football. And so that was just good football on both sides by the Saints. They took advantage of the turnovers and defense. They got to Tom, and they stopped the run. But then again, the Bucs didn't even try to run to try and establish any kind of run game.
4 carries.
How are you going to only carry the ball 4 times? Like legitimate carries. When you've got Ronald Jones, you've got Leonard Fournette, hell, even Shady McCoy could take a handoff from the backfield. I mean, what are you doing? You're not even given any kind of chance to run the ball, and it's so damn stupid. That's why when people say the run game is dead, I just look at them and say there's no way it can be dead because you can't be one-sided and expect to win. Even Kansas City drafted a running back this year, and they look just as good as last year.
It's definitely not dead. It's what it is the times of giving one guy 25 carries a game are probably dead.
Yes, you're splitting it usually between a group of running backs.
Right.
Unless your name is Christian McCaffrey, then you just still get all the touches.
Obviously, last night, Hunter, the team that, only threw it 4 times, ran it 4 times, only got 3 points. So we can talk about that run. You can talk about running.
You could look
just right there.
And not only that, time of possession and everything. Keeping the ball out of Drew Brees' hands. They just didn't try to. They just threw the ball. And I get it, when you get down, you probably don't think about the run. You're like, we got to do something to catch up fast, so we're going to try and move chunk yards and get a touchdown through the air. But the run game opens up a lot of the pass game. You can do play action off of it. Tom Brady is great in play action. They just, I don't know. The Bucs did. I tweeted this last night. The Bucs picked a damn bad game to be shitty. They really did, because this was a key game for the division. If they split 1-1, it all comes down to how they do against the rest of the teams in the division.
Right now, 7.
And it was really playing for the 1 seed, and they didn't get it.
7 of the top 10 rushing teams in the NFL are currently qualified for the playoffs. Teams not of those 7 not in the playoffs are the Vikings at 3-5, the Patriots at 2-5. They played tonight against the Jets. And then the Browns actually got knocked out of the playoffs this weekend. They're in the 8th spot. We'll talk about that on Wednesday. Colts, Raiders, and Dolphins all jumped ahead of them. And then the tiebreakers. So the Browns are out right now, which they're technically in, but the Raiders are that 10th team, so those two are flip-flopping. Saints right there at 11, San Francisco 12, Philadelphia 13, Seattle 14, Kansas City 15. So the top 15 teams, Hunter, only 4 of them, I think, aren't actually currently qualified in the playoffs. So all those teams average over 100 yards rushing a game. Let me look at the run touchdowns real quick and see what that is. San Francisco 1, Minnesota 2, tied with Arizona.
Minnesota's gained a lot of that after the past 2 games because Dalvin Cook's got 6 rushing touchdowns in 2 games.
Wow, the rushing touchdowns aren't are not indicative of
making a playoff.
Your win, but the yards were, but the touchdowns aren't. San Francisco, Minnesota, Atlanta, Panthers, Patriots, Bengals, Cowboys, all there in the top 12. That's half of them in the top 12. There aren't,
and they're not even making the playoffs.
Runs, but as far as yards goes, it's turned into. I guess teams are throwing the ball near the end zone as opposed to trying to pound it in from the 2 every time.
Probably.
I mean, that's a big thing. A lot of teams like to spread it and go. How about in the Cowboys game, Hunter? Just flipping through, they're beating the Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
They were up 16-9, which is just 1 touchdown. I get it. 3rd and 10, they run a draw to Zeke. Obviously, they don't think they're going to get it and then kick the field goal, right? Zeke gets 9.9 yards.
Oof, almost.
I'm talking like
barely
on 1 carry.
Mm-hmm.
Do you kick
the field goal
or go from the 30-yard line?
I would have taken the points.
They kicked the field goal. But, again, and I know McCarthy, obviously, like I said, he decided probably that we're going to kick this field goal and get out of here before that even happened. It's a close game against Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
But at that point, it was their 4th field goal.
Yeah.
You need a half a yard, and your 4th overall pick, who you pay $15 million a year, needs 6 inches.
The problem is, you hear it all the time. The fewer the yards you got to get, the harder it gets.
Mm-hmm.
Because the defense is just going to get so much closer to you. And how many times have we seen somebody just get stuffed right there?
Yeah.
Trying to get at least 1 yard. And I know Zeke could have gotten it. But it's one of those points where
remember, in retrospect, they got beat.
They did get beat. But it's just one of those moments where at that moment, that's why I said you got to take the points there. You're up on the last undefeated team. You can't afford to give them any momentum by turning the ball over on downs right here. And I know and I know it was getting close. I think that was going to send them over to halftime, wasn't it? It was very close. So to me, it was like, let's go in here and with a little bit more of a substantial lead. Let's take the points. We can't leave 3 and then it turn around and them score 7 on us and it's a flip of 4 points. So. I understand it completely.
Whoever's calling me from Colorado, I do not know you. So that's 4 points they could have had, Hunter. Maybe even 5 if they went for 2, based on the numbers at that point. And they didn't score again. So that was their last score. So they could have got 20. It would have been 23-9. That's 14. They probably wouldn't have went for 2. They would have just went for the field goal. So it would have been 23-9, and they would have probably lost by 1. But if you're within 3 points there at the end and have the ball, that's different than being down 5 because you're just trying to kick the field goal. Again, you can easily look at the score sheet and see what happened. Who won, Hunter? Ben Roethlisberger, no turnovers. Dallas quarterback, little pick. So I mean, you start right there in every game. Pittsburgh only ran for 46 yards. Dallas ran for 144.
I'll say this. Yesterday was the best I've seen Dallas's defense play all year.
Yeah, they did.
They played really good.
And that's the only reason they were in the game. Is because the defense
that quarterback
played good.
He was suitable, but
I think every quarterback in the NFL can run these offenses to where you just take 4 steps and throw it. I think they all can run.
Let's get the ball out of his hands.
I think they all
fast.
can run the Panthers offense to swinging him McCaffrey. Speaking of McCaffrey, he got hurt yesterday.
Yeah, shoulder.
Did you see
day-to-day.
The last play of the game? They threw it to him on a swing pass, and he didn't get the first down or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So last play of the game, we swing it out
to Christian McCaffrey.
I'm just trying to say that's not a winning formula. Like, he's a good player. That's a good dump off. But for the very last play of the game, you're trying to get whatever you're trying to get.
I will not complain because I have him in fantasy, and he got 31 for me this week. And he was one of the main reasons I won this week. But looking at it outside of fantasy, he still gets too many touches. And someone that owns him in fantasy, you never want to say that, though.
Right.
Because if you play PPRs, points per reception, every time he catches a ball, that's a point.
Right.
But to me, he still got too many touches. They did sometimes bring Mike Davis into the backfield and might run one drive, like 4 downs with him. Just 4 downs. But once that is over, then Christian McCaffrey comes in. Not a whole drive. They don't let Mike Davis just come out there and say, "All right, we're gonna give him a CMC a break," because we know you can run the ball, but you can also catch the ball out of the backfield too, Mike Davis. But this is a guy we're paying $16-17 million to. We need him on the field.
That's
what it is. And now look what has happened. He's now day-to-day with a shoulder injury. You hate to see that because he just got back off of injury. You didn't want him to come in and play 1 game and then get hurt. It's just one of those things where you don't want to see it, but once you get hurt once, you'll get hurt again. And he was Mr. Reliable for 4 years now?
Oh yeah.
And now there's one injury, here comes another injury. It's just, I don't know. This is just, you hate to see it. You hate to see it, but that's just what they're giving you right now. That's what this offense is still centered around, is Christian McCaffrey. He had some great catches out of the backfield. That one where he was diving backwards to catch the ball, where he basically ran that wheel route up the left-hand side of the field. That was a great catch by Christian McCaffrey. But they really moved the ball better whenever they gave the ball to Robbie Anderson, Curtis Samuel, and DJ Moore on the outside. They were moving the ball more because for the day overall, Teddy Bridgewater played great. He played really good throwing the ball.
I think he's played well this year. For the Cam lovers, I don't think you can look at this year and say that. So their excuses for this whole time was that Cam didn't have no weapons or whatever.
That turns out to be a lie.
And that's what I'm saying. Like,
the only addition
Cam
that they
went to
have,
New England, and if you're gonna say he's got worse weapons up there, whatever. But either way, neither one of them's got studs. I'll say that. But the thing about it is, Cam's only got 2 touchdowns in 7 games
and 7 picks.
Like what quarterback? Name one other quarterback in the NFL who could have those stats right now, and we'd be like, it's okay. He's going to start next week.
The only thing, so let's just look at it this way. Cam had Curtis Samuel and DJ Moore, and that is 2 players that he shared, and Christian McCaffrey, and that is 3 players that Teddy Bridgewater can say he shares that Cam had. But then let's look at it this way. Cam also had Greg Olsen.
That's a big one.
And guess what? Teddy Bridgewater does not have Greg Olsen.
Right.
But Teddy Bridgewater does have Robbie Anderson.
Right.
Cam Newton did not have Robbie Anderson. But which one, if you're looking at them just overall in their career, would you say is the better player? Robbie Anderson or Greg Olsen?
Well, Greg obviously has had a better career so far.
So which one would have been, you could argue, is the better player?
Oh, Greg Olsen.
There you go. I mean.
And I'm not a 7th floor Cruise fan or anything, but and I think him and his family are not good human beings, but what, and if you disagree, and you can look up the evidence all you want. His brother's a rapist and he sung very, very sexual innuendo, not even innuendo, more like almost assault rap video he did with the 7th floor Miami Hurricanes back in college. So I whether or not what you think about him or not, he's a decent football player. I think he's the only tight end with 3 straight 1,000-yard catch seasons, which is good. And he was definitely Cam's number one weapon. Cam don't have a tight end in New England. Not doing well. The running quarterbacks, the tight end has been so essential for them.
Yeah, that Lamar hits his tight ends a lot. Mark Andrews,
Michael Vick, that was his. He just
what
fed,
the Algie Crumpler.
Yeah, he fed Algie Crumpler.
Mm-hmm.
The tight end when Randall Cunningham was in Philadelphia, he had Keith Jackson. I know you probably know Keith Jackson as an announcer, but no, different Keith Jackson. And he had him to go to. The running quarterbacks when they Mahomes last year, his tight end's not bad at all, is it?
No, Travis Kelce.
So
Travis Kelce almost had 200 yards receiving.
The tight ends is really essential with the running quarterbacks because what do they do a lot of times? They do block, and then on play, so they're deadly on play action is where it is because you don't know if he's blocked. If you're a linebacker and you see your tight end block down,
to me,
or fake block down, then you do something different.
A lot of people are going to probably disagree with me. I think the most dangerous player now in the NFL is the tight end. And that is,
he can be.
And that is because you look at yes, if they're good. You can look at him as an X factor. Think about the teams that were winning last year. Mark Andrews. They also had Hayden Hurst, who is now the tight end in Atlanta. And then Atlanta, I mean, they struggled. But then look at Kansas City and you look at San Francisco, TJ Hawkinson now up in Detroit, Noah Fant in Denver. They can block. But when they're so big and they're so athletic and can go and receive the ball, it's the same reason why New England had Gronk for so many years, why he was so dominant. He's 6'7". I'm not saying he can run super fast, but he can run fast enough that the linebackers can't keep up with him.
You don't have to. So it's kind of like when you're playing basketball, is that as a smaller guy, when you're guarding a bigger guy, they can post you up, basically, or front you, or you have to front them. So when you're guarding, and I know from experience, when you're guarding a tight end, you can think you have him covered, and the quarterback just throws it high and outside. And you're like, well, shit.
Gronk's catch radius was a bust.
Yeah, I had him covered, and then he ends up catching it, and it really is frustrating.
Like watch George Kittle and Travis Kelce, and Gronk did this some when he was in New England. That's why I call them like the most. They can be the most dangerous, and it's because of what the tight end has become. The tight end has become a wide receiver that is just a big body blocker when he needs to be on the line. That's essentially what it is. Chase Claypool arguably could be a tight end for some teams, just as big as he is the wide receiver that they just drafted for Pittsburgh. They're just so big and so fast. Travis Kelce and George Kittle, how many times are they not, if they're not blocking, do they just line up like a wide receiver? And it's not like at the slot. They'll sometimes be the second or maybe the far outside wide receiver.
Right.
It's because they can run and catch like a wide receiver now. That's why, to me, they're the biggest X factor. And you just said it. Play action.
Right. It's hard to match up with.
You have no idea if he's just going to stay there for a block on a run or if he's going to block for a pass or if he's going to go out for the catch. And if he does go out for the catch, who's guarding him?
Jason Witten has the second most catches in NFL history.
He would just go a few yards, sit.
He ran one route. It's called the Y route, and basically you run straight at your defender, and when he turns his hips,
you go the opposite way.
You turn the opposite way and stop. So immediately, no matter what happens, you have a 4-yard cushion as soon as you stop and turn the other way.
Jason Witten hadn't played at all this year, though, and he's with the Raiders. Yeah. It's crazy. It's funny to think that he's still there.
Remember, Jason Witten not good enough to play for the Cowboys. Gets cut. Cowboys are 2-what, and Raiders are what?
Raiders are playoff bound.
Yeah. Raiders 5-3.
Damn, they got lucky.
The NFC East, Hunter. Cut 2-time Super Bowl champion Eli Manning for a Duke quarterback.
I think he'll be decent.
Got rid of Tony Romo for a 4th-round quarterback.
Dak is good. He's good. He just busted his ankle out.
The Eagles cut the Super Bowl MVP, who won the only Super Bowl in team history. All 3 of them for beautiful young men with sexy, strong arms, Look good in the shorty shorts.
There you go.
They all look good. Washington got them one from Ohio State, and then they're all hot garbage. All the teams are. Now, granted, Dax isn't because of play; it's because of injury. But either way, sometimes, Hunter, when you say, like when I say, be careful what you wish for when you get rid of these guys, because
get rid of them,
because you don't know what's coming in next.
Get rid of them.
Your whole division.
So many of the young guys come in and work now. You have to take the shot. You have to take the chance. So many of the young guys come in and work. So many of them come in and work.
You only got a 1 in 5 chance.
Jared Goff came in, and I know you aren't sold on him, but he did make a Super Bowl.
Easy. Listen, easy game, Hunter.
All right.
Top of your head.
Yes.
Name the top 10 best quarterbacks right now in the NFL. What is this list? Okay.
Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Ben Roethlisberger, Russell Wilson, I would say Matt Ryan, but they're not winning, so I don't know. But then again, that's a team thing. It's a team game.
Right.
So
who's the best quarterbacks in the NFL? Top 10. We got 6. You're almost there. Matt Ryan's number 1 in yards.
Oh no, it's tough. I think
Matt Ryan, Teddy Bridgewater, Tom Brady, Deshaun Watson, Justin Herbert, Jared Goff, Kyler Murray, Stafford.
I don't think Deshaun Watson is a top 10 quarterback.
Rivers.
That's me though.
Rivers, Wentz, Cousin, Foles, Fitzpatrick, Baker, Lamar,
well,
Cam Newton,
since
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Since this is the year everybody's getting hurt anyways, put
Joe Flacco?
No, not at all. Go ahead and put Matt Ryan down. So now we're at 7. Now I need 3 more. Just put Deshaun in there because he's good enough. He's like fringe 10 for me though, because I've seen him do a lot of dumb stuff too. Now I gotta go through. I'm just scrolling through every single one of them.
That's fine.
Josh Allen. If you don't write him down, I'm gonna have big.
I'm typing
trouble.
right now. I'm gonna write what you're asking, even though he's not top 10 quarterback.
Right now he is. Did you just see what he did this weekend?
What did he do?
400 yards, 4 total touchdowns. Only missed 6 throws.
What did they do the weekend before?
They won.
They got beat 2 weeks in a row, didn't they?
No, this is their 3rd week in a row with a win.
All right,
won
so
3 straight.
Allen, Watson, Mahomes, Ryan Wilson, Ben, Breeze, Brady, and Rodgers.
Well, who I need one more?
Hold on, I'm maybe 3.
No, I think
6,
I need 2
9.
more.
That's 9.
9. Derek Carr.
Jesus Christ.
Derek Carr can be 10th. Who would you have put there?
No, I'm not saying about that. I'm just trying to think where you don't
see,
know where I was going.
See,
with
the problem
That's fine
is
with
the problem with me is I have to sit here and list through all 32 teams and think about who's got the best.
So where was Mahomes drafted?
Mahomes was drafted 10th. He was first round.
Where was Deshaun Watson drafted?
First round.
3rd?
No, he was like 7th. That was the draft they drafted Mitch before those 2.
Where was Josh Allen drafted?
First round.
Derek Carr.
Was he a first round pick or was he a 3rd round pick? That's a good question. I don't remember. I think he might have been a high draft pick. The problem is everybody remembered what his brother did. And his brother really wasn't that good. When was Derek Carr? Wait. Why was it not? Just tell me. It says I can't read it. Drafted by the Raiders, 2nd round. So he's a 2nd round pick.
Okay. So of your top 10, 5 of them were in the 1st round. I'll say 6 of them. I forgot about it. Aaron Rodgers was like 28th pick.
Yeah, because that's what everybody says. Oh, San Francisco picked it, didn't pick him.
Right. But of all the top 10 quarterbacks, only one of them was number 1 overall. 6 of them were in the 1st round. We got Breeze in the 2nd, Russell Wilson in the 3rd, Derek Carr in the 2nd, Brady 6th, And
well, I'll tell you who would have been on there if he didn't retire was Andrew Luck, but he was 1-1.
When did he retire? 3 years ago?
2, I think. 2 years ago.
So again, what I'm getting at, I mean, Rodgers is a veteran. Brady's a veteran. Brees is a veteran. Big B and Russell Wilson. How many years has he been in the league?
Russell's been in there, what, 9 years?
He's 31 years old, so he's in his 30s. Matt Ryan's is he 30 yet? Is Matt Ryan 30
Oh, yeah,
yet?
he's 35.
Matt Ryan's 35?
He's
Holy
35.
Christmas. That don't seem right. So 6 of your top 10 are in their 30s. So what I'm getting at, Hunter, is that I believe that you have a higher percentage of busts than you do hits.
6 of your top 10 are in their 30s. Hello, the 2 of them are in their 40s.
Well, yeah, I know. But what I'm getting at is that if you've got a solid quarterback play, a lot of teams, let's say the Giants, for example, with Eli. Yeah, he's getting old.
Eli was struggling. Good God.
But again, what's happened since they got rid of him? Nothing. When Eli had a good defense, he made the playoffs. Same thing with Romo when he had a good defense. They went to the playoffs. Again, it's tough cutting. So Daniel Jones, you go him. Same thing with the Browns. You take Baker there, and if he's not the guy for 10 years, you're wasting a pick to where you could have a stud at another position and then get someone else further down the line, which nobody's guaranteed. And what's how many guys we have drafted in the first round this year? 4, was it?
What did we just have? Is Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Tua, and
those are 3 in the top 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was anybody else in the first round?
I don't think so. Yes, Jordan Love. They moved up to get him, and he is not panned out
in Green Bay. Right?
They say he is not looking that great.
So, I mean, I'm not sold on Tua yet. We'll see what happens with that. Him having the number 1 defense helps. Mm-hmm. Think about if he was on a regular top 10 picking defense, other than Miami, like
that number 1 defense still let up 30.
How bad would Miami be if they were? If they had Dallas's defense.
Yuck.
Well, I'm just don't get rid of a sure thing is the point of all that, Hunter.
Well, I understand, but
take a chance.
It's just one of those things where you keep bringing up Eli. You could tell Eli was declining, and it was actually starting to be sort of rapid towards the later 2 years of his career that he played. He was starting to throw more interceptions than he was touchdowns, and that was. And if you're the organization, you hate to see it that way because, yes, he is a legend in New York. He is. And he's a Manning. All right. You hate to see that. But you do got to look future-wise. And so at that point, you had to just pull, you had to pull the trigger as soon as you could on guys that are coming out. Because like I keep saying, these guys are coming out and whether or not they're in a situation when they go to the team they go to win, they're good enough to play immediately. Not many of them just have the 1 year that they sit and they learn, like Jordan Love's getting to do right now. But that's what they said. They said he's just not ready. They said that about Dwayne while he was sitting. He's just not ready. But a lot of the guys, they just come in and they're ready immediately to play.
You want to come down here and eat this W before you go?
Oh, God, you talking to Andre? Andre don't want nothing to do with it.
He gave me the hand wave.
He don't want
nothing to do with it.
Nothing to do with it.
I thought he'd want to come down here and eat that W.
No, he eat that L. Bucks ate that L.
Hunter, could Eli Manning have went 5-16 the last 2 years?
Probably. But so Eli goes 5-16.
Right.
Or you think you've got the guy going forward and you give him this experience and just draft around him.
Or you don't draft a Duke quarterback. I'm just saying, man. You got to be smart with these. I don't mind going for the future if it works. Whatever.
Yeah, Kevin, but it's the same thing.
But you don't get rid of...
If the Browns didn't have that amount of talent around Baker, does he win?
Do they do
exactly.
Do they do any of that?
Do the Giants have that talent?
At any other positions?
What?
Just like...
Draft for the future?
Get rid of people who can play now just to see if they can. It's kind of... It's just
Patriots have done it for years.
It's just a weird...
Patriots have done it for years.
A weird
Stay
theory
cheap.
to me.
Stay cheap.
They cheat.
Not cheat, just stay cheap.
Oh,
they stay cheap.
Stay cheap. I thought you said they cheat.
No, I said stay cheap.
Got you. I got you.
Stay cheap. They always try and keep these guys on young, or not on young, on their rookie contracts, and they don't want, once they start sniffing around wanting more money. All right, see you never. Go enjoy playing in Cleveland.
See, playoff standings right now, Pittsburgh are the 1 seed. If they started today, Miami Dolphins. Now remember, folks, we warned you. They're going to go 7-5.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Hunter, I looked at that end of that schedule. It's not as hard as it was 3 weeks ago. Patriots are one of those teams.
Yeah, that's a win.
And then I think the Raiders are in there too. It's a chance to win.
That's a chance to win. The Raiders are not bad.
Right. So that's the chance. We thought we had originally had them that Dolphins are going to go 7-5 and lose 4 straight.
Mm-hmm.
Now they got a chance to make the playoffs. I think they can go 8-8. I don't like Tua at all.
I think they do have a great opportunity to make the playoffs, and it's going to be defense. I don't think it's straight going to be Tua.
Zach texted me
I think
this
it is
morning
defense.
A picture of Tua, and he said, I can't unsee it
See
now.
the hand. It's the hand.
It's weird. It is extremely, extremely
weird.
It
is extremely weird. But we'll just see.
I sent you the pic of Big Ben, didn't I?
Yeah.
Doing it.
Yeah. We'll just see going forward how Miami plays, because I do think if this defense is going to carry them where they can go. I don't think it's going to be Tua comes in and carries them to the playoffs. It's going to be that defense. And Tua will play just good enough. You know, he might throw 2 touchdowns a game or the 1 touchdown a game. But the defense right now, I think they're the number 1 scoring defense.
They gave up 30, so that may have changed. I'm going to check on that.
But I know that they have
2 now.
They have one of their corners.
Ugh.
One of their corners is tied for the most interceptions in the league. So they got good defense. Okay, so well, even still, they got a top 5 defense, and look at everybody that they're in there with.
Right,
playoff teams: Baltimore, Rams, Colts, Miami, and then Pittsburgh.
8 of the top 10 defenses are qualified for the playoffs right now. Ravens, Rams, Colts, Dolphins, Steelers, Chiefs, Bears not in. They're 5-3. Arizona, Tampa, and San Francisco's not in at 4-5, and then the Redskins, Patriots, and Giants. You guys play some good D.
That's all we got.
Just need some quarterbacks.
I felt so bad for Alex Smith yesterday. He threw 1 touchdown to 3 picks.
Is that what he got?
1 to 3. It was the first. Now, the reason why I said I felt bad was because it overshadowed the fact that he did throw his first touchdown in like 700 days.
Is he going to be the Browns quarterback next year?
No, he's probably going to be ours.
Is he going to be the Bears quarterback next year?
I don't think he does.
He's not going to be y'all's.
No.
I think y'all end up drafting and
the problem
forward.
is, I think we move forward to, here's the thing though, Dwayne, they essentially booted him to 3rd string. Well, now Kyle Allen's having surgery on his ankle that he dislocated and tore something in. So now Dwayne's 2nd string to Alex Smith. And if Alex Smith gets hurt, Dwayne's right back.
What about Alex Smith in Minnesota?
I think Minnesota, if they continue to lose, I know they just won, but if they stay where they're at, they're going to try and draft a quarterback. They just got to look in front of them and see how many teams take the quarterbacks, or need one, because then they could move up.
With Cook back, they're extremely hard to guard. However, their defense is horrible. And
it is bad this year.
They're giving up 29 a game.
It's just crazy because that's what they've been known for, was their defense. And Kirk Cousins will just go out there and be the game manager that he is. I don't know. It's been a complete flip-flop. Now their offense is so hard to guard, especially Dalvin Cook at the running back position.
I like Cook. He runs hard.
It's just the Vikings are an odd commodity to me because they're one of these teams, they've only won 3 games, but I feel like on the right day they could beat anybody.
Browns 26th in defense. Chubb comes back this week. Their defense, they just ain't got no health. They may be the unhealthiest defense I've ever seen. Maybe the right outside the playoffs.
Unhealthiest defense, but the unhealthiest team is the 49ers. That training staff to me should be fired. Y'all can't keep a single soul healthy. 19, almost 20 players on IR. Good Lord.
15, 60. It is not the training staff's fault that your team is soft.
Soft.
Panthers have snuck into the top half of the league at 15. Tennessee 16 in defense. Hunter, Saints are 13th.
Mm-hmm.
Last time Drew Brees had a top 10 defense, he won the Super Bowl. The only time he won the Super Bowl. Think about that. Rodgers and Brees. And then Brady's got 6. Like Rodgers and Brees, and he got 1 and 1. The only people with multiples during Brady's tenure is Roethlisberger and the Mannings.
Mm-hmm.
2 Mannings and Roethlisberger. And then him, and that's it.
It's really a feat that I don't think anybody else really is going to see for quite a while. But what I need people to realize though is that young man in Kansas City is damn good.
Not bad.
Not bad. No, damn good. He's got 1 interception. I think he's got 25 touchdowns right now, and he's the youngest player to reach 100 touchdown passes.
Not bad.
He did it in 40, or no, not the youngest. He took the least amount of time to get to 100 passes. It only took him 40 games. Took Dan Marino, I think, 44.
According to Panthers fans, he wouldn't be able to do that in Carolina.
Why? Because he doesn't have wide receivers.
There's no help.
Right? Yeah. No, he's not just talented. He doesn't just maybe like throw off of 1 foot all the time and just fling the ball like Aaron Rodgers does.
Ben DiNucci threw the greatest incomplete pass in NFL history. Actually, let me take that back. Tony Romo threw the greatest incomplete pass in NFL history. That was overruled.
Oh, the Dez
called it. That was the greatest incomplete pass in NFL history. But DiNucci, last week, that's the best damn pass I've ever seen that didn't not a hand was laid on the ball, Hunter.
The only reason why
not a hand.
The only reason why I say this is because, one, I really enjoy watching Patrick Mahomes play. He's very fun to watch, and he plays the position very well for someone as young as he is. People forget he is in his technically 4th year, but his 3rd year starting.
Mm-hmm.
And in that amount of time, he's got an MVP, a Super Bowl, and a Super Bowl MVP. I mean, think about it. They usually say you're not really reading defenses great until year 5 and 6, and he's already this good. Whew, man, and the Kansas City Chiefs have got their opportunity to obviously be like the New England Patriots and have a dynasty, because the Chargers are bad right now. If they're coming up, Justin Herbert's pretty good. The Raiders, they're decent, but they're not much of a challenge, even though if they split once a year, that's like when Brady and the Jets, when Sanchez was there and Rex Ryan was there, they would split every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
And Denver, Lord knows what the hell they're doing there. So this is a great opportunity for the Chiefs to have a small dynasty, because they could always have an opportunity to lock up the 1 seed, get the bye, and then from there, they just run it. And people say, well, eventually, Terry, I can hear him and Tom saying, well, you got to pay them. You can't afford everybody. This offense is set up to all they have to do is draft the fastest receiver out of college. They can let everybody else walk. All they have to do is keep defense together. Mahomes is locked up, and maybe sign Travis Kelce. Other than that, everybody else is interchangeable.
I got a question for LeBron Mahomes over here. How many Super Bowls does he have to win before he's considered the GOAT?
He has to get close to 6.
I just want to know what rules we're playing by with this.
No, to me, he has to.
6 is a lot in football.
Oh, I know. That's what I'm saying. He has to get close to 6. If he gets 3 or 4, though, you can start putting him on Mount Rushmore.
I mean, Joe Montana may be the. I agree. I agree with you there. You get 3 and 4, you're in the conversations.
Because you're right. 6 is a damn lot.
Marino might be the best passer we've ever seen. He didn't win 1.
Mm-hmm.
He is 100. You could ask 100 people. I would say 99 of them would pick Marino over Eli Manning every day of the week.
Oh yes, Eli had
the one guy.
Eli, like Peyton, could throw ducks.
The one guy who would pick Eli would be Cooper Manning. Now, well, so what I'm getting at is sometimes, especially in football in the NFL, I think we have to keep in perspective what Brady actually did, and kind of, the whole Montana thing was, if Brady's 5-2, is that better than Montana at 4-0? So he wins the 6th one, then you can start, and that's the thing with the people with the LeBron folks. It would be different if he was 7-4.
Yes.
And you might you could have some type of an argument.
11
or
finals
7-3,
and won 7 and lost
6
4.
and 5.
Right. Winning.
But having an actual losing record in the finals and less championships than other people. And Chris here and said he's been past Kobe for a while, and I'm like, how?
Kobe's got 5. And he doesn't. What? He's only got 1 loss, 2 losses in the finals.
I think he's 5-2.
So he lost 1 to Boston.
Again, you say Michael's math is 6-0, but then you tell me 4 and 6 is better than that. Well, then 5 and 2 sure as hell better than 4 and 6. Then isn't it?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just so what I'm getting at is that we have to keep in perspective what Brady accomplished. As how are we going to go 4 or 5 years before we start throwing out this guy's the GOAT? And I'm like, what the hell just happened? He just won 6 championships.
That's what I'm saying. To me, like I can acknowledge and I know that Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time. I will acknowledge that. And that's why I say, if he can do this, if he can get, and some would even have to argue, the argument would be damn close if he got 5. I know he would have to get 6,
right?
But then he would be more than Montana, just 1 shy of Tom.
I think 4-0 with all the records, you would have to have a conversation.
And see,
because
that's why
people
to
would
me,
still put Montana in there right now.
And that's why to me, I'm not quite saying he has to be just the GOAT, but if Patrick Mahomes was able to get, because it looks like they're in great contention for him to go back-to-back on a Super Bowl, 2 in a row. If he was to get 3, even 4, he has to, and with what he does on numbers-wise and records-wise, he has to be in a conversation of at least Mount Rushmore.
Right. So here's the problem with Brady as compared with the Jordan conversations on GOAT. So Jordan never got to a 7th game.
Right.
He was never threatened to lose. Brady won every single one of his championships by less than a touchdown.
Right, they were field goals, most of them.
He didn't dominate.
Goskowski.
He has not dominated a single Super Bowl.
The one Super Bowl he did, they lost.
You talking about stat-wise?
Yeah, stat-wise, it was Philadelphia. That's where he threw for over 500 yards.
Yeah. So he is not. So there's that point that Jordan dominated his finals. Right. Brady didn't. Is anybody going to say Brady's got the best arm in NFL history?
No.
Is he the most accurate in NFL history?
No.
Was he benefited by one of the greatest defensive minds coaching in NFL history?
Yes.
Okay. So then when you look at Michael, you make the argument that, well, not only did he win the most, he's one of the best free throw shooters. He's one of the best and ones. He's one of the best. Honestly,
scorers.
He's the number 1 scorer in NBA history. So when you keep scoring a game, and this guy scored more than anyone else, and he's never been beat in a championship, that's different than 6-2, 5-3, only winning by 6 points. So to me, there's so much more of a gap for Michael to whoever's behind him than there is from Brady to Montana.
Think about it. People talk
Montana's
about
closer.
People talk about Magic. And Magic having, 5 rings?
Oh, I thought you said AIDS.
No. No. But then talk about Magic. He's got 5 rings too. And,
right.
But it's like.
For the Lakers.
But he's got a loss.
Yeah.
And that loss was to Michael. When Michael and then finally started showing up.
He lost the bird too.
Well, he did lose the bird too, but
yeah.
He's 5-2. He's just like
5-3 or 4. I'll have to check.
He just
on
gets
that.
The argument will be, well, he got there more. That's what they always say. So he got there more, and
that's the thing about Michael though. He's the best at everything he did. He was defensive player of the year. He was the best offensive player. He was the best at everything, and then went and won. So to me, if Cam Newton went 4-0 in the Super Bowl, okay, and you compare that to Montana, you're gonna say Cam's the greatest.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean with Michael. I'm like, okay, we can talk about winning. We can talk about the Olympics. We can talk about college. You can talk about all the winning. Space Jam, beat the aliens. But then again, he's still the best damn player. So that's what's weird about it. I was looking at the Magic stuff. 5 NBA championships, 9 appearances. So he was 5-4. Was Magic? I knew he'd lost more than 2. To them, the Jordan thing, of course, when we talked about that earlier, he only lost to teams that won the championship or made the finals, and in Chicago, but being the all-time leading scorer, and you can't beat him. So All right. That's kind of what I was kind of getting with Brady and Montana and how we're going to go with those. We've got trying to get Hunter out of here in a second. Make sure I won't touch on any other news notes come across the boards. Let me check my fun Twitter notes. That song that I sent you, had you ever heard that? That song?
Not.
Did you click on it, listen to it for a second?
I did.
So that came out pretty much when we were in school. That has nothing to do with the Saints.
Yeah.
So I sent that to Andre, and that's why I got sent out because he knew that song.
Yeah.
But I just every time they say who dat, I think of that song. Who dat, who dat, who dat, who dat, who dat, who dat.
I don't know.
Who dat, trying to get
there
up
will
in my
be
groove.
Not really any notes, but there will be the NBA draft in
25th.
2 weeks.
25th.
That's the draft, or is that when NCAA basketball starts?
The draft is
like the 18th.
18th. Draft is the 18th. NCAA starts.
So wait, the 18th.
25th.
What is that? That's next week, isn't it? Okay, so that's the NBA draft.
Right.
NCAA will start the 25th of this month, so we'll have something else to talk about. College basketball getting ready to start up.
You see what's this weekend, don't you?
Huh?
It's Masters weekend.
Oh! I had no idea where you were going with this because I was just talking about basketball. I was like, "What do you mean this weekend?"
It's Masters weekend.
It is Masters weekend, and Bama LSU is supposed to play this weekend, but it is in jeopardy because the Tigers had many COVID tests.
Chris, I see your comments. LeBron was not the best player on his first Miami team. D. Wade was. Now let's think about this. If Shaq was the best player on those teams, why didn't he win before Kobe got there? He didn't win until Kobe got there. And then when they split up, Kobe won 2, Shaq won 1, with D. Wade, who was the better player on LeBron's first championship. All cancels each other out. Chris, he's simple math. Simple math, buddy. He's a LeBron sexual. That's what's weird about it. 40-year-old man is a LeBron sexual. Weird. Just messing with you, buddy. DeChambeau and the Masters is this weekend. Gonzaga opens up at number 1. Your Tar Heels are 16th, Hunter. I didn't see App in the basketball rankings.
Kevin, I wouldn't quite look very hard for them.
Hunter, true or false? Between App and Carolina last year, App had the best player.
Yeah.
Because Cole Anthony was hurt.
Yeah.
Adrian Delph, baby.
He was hurt. Cole Anthony was hurt. And he will be probably, I don't know where he'll be drafted, though. He should be getting drafted next week.
I haven't seen the mock on it.
It's weird because now that we know who's picking where for basketball, you're not really looking outside of maybe the top 5 because that's where the Hornets are. They're at 3.
Right.
So anybody that's projected to go in the top 5, the Hornets are probably going to have dibs at, unless it's Anthony Edwards. Then he more than likely is going to go 1. But other than that,
he said he didn't want to. Not Anthony Edwards. Wiseman said he does not want to go to the Timberwolves. He's come out and said he's not wanting to come there.
I don't blame him.
The key to the whole draft, Hunter, is Warriors at 2.
Yeah.
Who they draft and or trade for. And then that will be a key. I don't see any. Do you see any teams trading a star for the 3 pick that the Hornets could have, and not necessarily a star like a mediocre star that they might not want to pay the Hornets? Because that's the only way Hornets going to get a star if they don't draft someone. But like, who's calling the Hornets to be like, we'll give you Embiid for the 3 pick? See what I mean?
Not the 76ers.
Well, is there anybody giving them a 20-point score for that? 1988 and 2020, Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
People that don't think sports are fixed. 88 champion was the Lakers. 2020, Lakers. 88 baseball, the Dodgers. 2020, the Dodgers. Who just won the NASCAR Cup Championship yesterday, Hunter?
Chase Elliott.
1988 NASCAR Winston Cup champion was
Bill Elliott.
Dun dun dun. All sports are fixed. Dun 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 dun. That's really all I got on that.
Chris Nelson wants the Hornets to get Wiseman. I don't know how I feel
to do
about that.
what?
I don't know how
to
I
do
feel
what?
about that. You need wing scoring in this league.
No, I mean, how many centers score 20 a game?
You know, you need wing scoring in this league.
Vonleh worked out great.
Cody Zeller's been really nice.
Zeller's awesome. You know, PJ Washington, he's a stud. Let's keep
Bismack Biyombo.
Let's keep picking big men that everybody on this sports show could outshoot Bismack Biyombo has been traded like 7 times and still end up back up on the team.
I'm about to say,
How
still
ends
ends
up
up back here.
How did that happen? It's just crazy. All right, Hunter. Let's see. Anything else on your? There was one more note I was trying to look up before we got out of here. I know you're trying to leave.
I mean, no, not really. I'm just looking at this, and
we're gonna make our picks Wednesday on the Masters, folks, and talk about that with Zach. We're gonna talk NASCAR on Wednesday. With Zach
that would be the only other thing I have to say is congratulations, Chase Elliott.
Chase Elliott won the championship. Jimmy finished 5th. Bowyer, his career and Chad Canales' careers are now over on the tracks. Not gonna lie, Hunter, there may have been a small tear shed in the Hastings household watching the end of an era last night with
And it
Johnson.
wasn't you, was it?
It might have been me.
Okay. Oh, I was say it might have been your kids because they're Jimmy Johnson's fans. But I was gonna give you the opportunity to say, yeah, it was my children.
No, it was not.
You ever listen, ladies and gentlemen? You ever want to see a grown man cry? If you haven't, 1, hit him in the nuts. 2, a important family member have died. It's probably because something in sports has happened that is really deep to his heart.
No, it's more of the family stuff. Kind of gets to you. Sit there because you think about it. You know, he started in 2001. I was 19 years old pulling for him.
Yeah.
And my kids have done nothing but pull for him, and they pull for him like crazy. I asked him, I said, "Who y'all want to pull for?" I asked him if they want to pull for the 9 car,
right?
Since he's Hendricks, and they've got 9 stickers on some of their stuff that I told you about.
Yeah.
And she said, "Nope, I'm pulling for the pink 48." I was like,
"Nope."
All right, so I guess you're an Alex Bowman fan this year.
I mean, that's how it was for me and Chipper.
Yeah.
When Chipper retired, I was a Braves fan all my life, watching him play, and he was the best player on the team for so long. And then he finally hung it up, and it was like, "What? You were who I tried to be when I played baseball. What do you mean it's over? What do you mean it's over?"
The most I was ever upset by a player, I pulled for the Vikings for 3 years when they traded Herschel Walker, or 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
The most upset I was over someone retiring was Ed Too Tall Jones.
Oh yeah,
and he retired. This is his second retirement. I cried, man. Like, Jones, Too Tall's gone. No.
I have never been upset over a football retirement, but that's because nobody on the Washington team is worth a shit to me care about if they retire. The only one that was close might have been our linebacker. Oh God, what is it? I can't remember his damn name. Holy shit!
For who?
It was for Washington.
LeVar Arrington.
No, not Lamar Arrington. No,
I love LeVar Arrington.
No,
he's funny. I like how he talks. He's real about it. He's got like a little country in him or something. I don't know what it is. All right, Hunter, let's get you out of here. Wednesday, like I said, we're going to talk Masters, NASCAR. We'll have our NFL power rankings. The reason I didn't show them today, Patriots get beat tonight, Hunter.
London Fletcher, that was his name.
If they get beat tonight, they're probably gone
off
the power rankings. Now, if they win, I might have to cut the Cowboys and the Landover football team at the same time.
At the same time.
Y'all have been beat twice
by the Giants. Terry sat here Saturday and said Washington's going to beat the Giants. I said, Terry, the Giants have 1 win. And he said, yeah. I said, it's over Washington. So I don't know about that pick.
Too bad for you. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in and watching today. We're getting out here a little early. Hunter's got to get somewhere, but we'll make sure we go overtime on Wednesday. Hunter's going to have to stay Wednesday. I can go home, take a nap today, I guess.
Yeah, there you go.
Nana's got the kids.
There you go. Enjoy
yourself. Get home
till
5.
Enjoy yourself.
Yeah. All right. Folks, Masters Week. We'll see you guys next time on Shock Joxx, episode 98. Wednesday, I think Chris will be here Wednesday, the 11th, actually, and he can tell you, I don't know what he can tell you. He can tell you.
He'll be here, yep.
We're going to do some Stump the Squeak. So I want you to try to come up with about 4 or 5 questions. And what we're going to do, I'm really going to ask him and ask you maybe, and see if you can Google faster than he can answer.
Okay.
It'll be fun.
We'll see.
You might lose.
We'll see.
We'll see. Hunter, that's a challenge for Chris.
That's a challenge.
All right, real quick, final thoughts. The Yetis baseball tournament this weekend, folks. Watch it on YouTube. We did 5 games. It went all 5 games. One kid, Hunter, had 3 home runs. Call him a kid. He's not a kid. He's 19. He's a kid to me. Another guy had 2 bombs, and the local kids played really well. And Tom didn't have to throw anybody out, although he did almost throw a guy out for telling him that was a garbage call, and he's been garbage all weekend.
Listen, Tom, I could tell through your text messages you were really riled up about that one. You should have done
He ripped his mask off. He did. And I was like, oh, he said something to Tom. I don't know what he said.
He should have done it. You should have rung him up. Should have rung him up.
One game, Hunter, we had the stat line. Team had 5 runs on 3 hits, and all 3 were home runs. It was Major League Baseball stat line of the day. And then what did we see? We saw so the play yesterday, it was a play I'd never seen before, and we still haven't got clarification on it. So this is as far as what I know. It was the player on third thought it was ball 4, and he thought the bases were loaded.
So he just walked into the home.
He stole home walking. The catcher didn't tag him.
So it was a score.
He stole home. He just walked in. That's all I had to say. Fun time.
I gotta say.
All right, we'll be back next week on shot or next week. God, it's so hard not to say that on
Wednesday.
On
Wednesday.
Well, I'm used to on Saturdays.
Right.
It's saying we'll see you next week, but it's Wednesday. All right, guys. KTC Broadcasting. I'm Kevin Hastings, Hunter Yancey. Follow us on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Facebook, any other type of thing that we're on KTC Broadcasting. Just look for KTC Broadcasting with the Shock Joxx. See you next time.
I am the incredible man. I only do